ready to roll on this opening Friday, day number 3 of the fall season here at Gulfstream Park West. Our track, home to about 450 thoroughbreds, including the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint-bound Stormy Embrace. Partly cloudy skies, nice breeze down here in Miami Gardens, South Florida, and 8 races coming your way as we join you live from our Gulfstream Park West studios. Alfredo Alfonso, Jason Blewett alongside. Appreciate you coming along for the ride over the next few hours. Another 8-race card, Alfredo, and boy, speed's been pretty good on the dirt, hasn't it?
Yes, we were talking about that at the beginning. So 8 winners, wire to wire, in 2 days, out of 16 races.
Right. And when you say 8 wire-to-wire winners on the dirt, we've only run 8 races on the dirt. I mean, all 8 of those races were essentially won by the inside speed. And we have found and we have seen through the first couple of cards, it's been difficult for horses to make up serious ground from off the pace. Will that trend continue? That is kind of the main story going into this card when you consider, Alfredo. We do have a couple of key carryovers, including that first race bound Super High 5 and a carryover of about $1,800. We had one single alive in yesterday's Rainbow Six. That horse did not win, and as a result, we have a little over $12,000 up for grabs.
Yes, and we prepared these early pick 5, and also we have the Stronach 5 today.
No, that's a great call. And we'll talk. We both have, you and I both have Stronach 5 tickets, and we'll review that sequence as a whole on the second segment of this show. We'll take a little time out, of course, after the early double before we dive into that $12,000 jackpot rainbow carryover. We'll talk about the Stronach 5, but I want to put you in the hot seat, my friend. Much like Claudia yesterday, what are we doing in this early pick 5?
Well, let's see the ticket. We have it's not expensive. It's only 27 bucks, and we have a single in the 4th race. We are using the number 1 Captain Wrong. We think the inside pot is very favorable for him. I think if he gets a good jump at the beginning, he will be unreachable for his rivals. Well, that is what I think. Let's see what happens in the reality.
He's a legit favorite. I like him quite a bit, too. And I think, Alfredo, one of the highlights, you're too deep in the back end of this thing, hopefully closing out a winning $27 play with the 1 Fort McHenry, the 3 Gemmo. But I like that 5th race quite a bit. That is a good-looking cast of 2-year-old maiden special weight runners. And it's funny, about 48 hours ago, you were on the show on Wednesday, opening day, and I said before we get started, I got to know who your favorite horse of all time is. It's California Chrome, and wouldn't you know it, we have a Tappet half-brother to California Chrome running in the 5th. I just thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, well, if he has the speed of his brother, maybe he can win wire-to-wire also that race.
Yep, he'll go out for trainer Todd Pletcher with jockey Edgar Zayas from the rail. So that's Alfredo's early pick 5 ticket, and we can discuss an upcoming field of 9 in this Friday opener. I almost said Twilight Friday, not a Twilight Friday. This is our earliest start time as far as a Friday afternoon of racing on this circuit in a number of months. But we'll go at 5 furlongs over the firm turf. We've got some 2-year-old $35,000 maiden claimers. Yee is the horse to beat, the number 7 in this race. You like the speed this horse has for Leo Espera?
Yes, in the last race, he ran very well, taking the lead from the beginning, and he faded at the end, but finished very close to the winner, only 2 lengths behind. And I think Paco Lopez is a good ingredient in this horse. So if he has an easy lead, will be very difficult to catch.
Definitely. And I do think, look, you've got a cast of 9. Only a third of this field, including Yeye, have started on the turf before. And I do believe his turf race that Alfredo alluded to and likes on 4th of July over at Gulfstream Park makes him the horse to beat. That is the best-looking prior turf race in the field. I do think, though, the 9 Alaskan, who's not, and it's very early, let's emphasize that, about an hour to go before we start the card. Alaskan not bet early, but I just look at the Cantharos Wildcat Air pedigree with trainer Jose Pinchin, and I'm thinking there's a good chance this horse might come out firing. Jose is a very good 2-year-old trainer.
And also has this 5-pound allowance that is very, very helpful, in my opinion, to get a good first start. And maybe he can overtake JJ at the final stretch. So Let's see. I think that first starter is the real danger for the horse, the JJ.
And the number one bolt on the rail is likely to improve. Where does he stand? How good is he? Tough to gauge entirely, but he will likely show up with a better effort than he did first time out at a very big price, above 50 to 1. He'll make his turf debut. Very good trainer in Juan Alvarado, who quietly really did a good job with those Arundel 2-year-olds over at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, he's improving very quickly, especially when he's combining with Sayas and Jaramillo. So I think this ball maybe will hit the board too.
And who's riding today? Who's on bolt from the rail?
Yes, of course.
It's Edgar.
Yes, yes. If he has a good jump, Bolt showed speed in his first start. So maybe if he takes the turf in a good way, maybe he can win.
All right. Speaking of Arundel, they've got one of the horses to beat in this upcoming second race. Now, we head to the main track, and again, not to harp on it, but it's got to be mentioned, Inside Speed has been king, has been quite simply unbeatable here through the first 8 dirt races, all of them won wire to wire. The pace in this race is a little murky, and I combine the way the track was playing with the fact that this group of bottom-level $12,500 maiden claiming 2-year-olds, that they've all got to go a pretty demanding 2-turn, 1-mile distance and trip. This is a very tricky race that's going to test all 6 horses. St. Joe Viper, the 1, might be the horse to beat with that Inside Speed now, depending upon how the track is playing. If the track has evened out to an extent, you and I both believe the 6, You Go, I Go, is probably not going to be on the lead early, but might just be first late. I like that this horse has a lot of bottom and foundation to go this demanding distance today.
Yes, because in this race it's very difficult to see a horse, wiring the field from the beginning. A closer like this, Ugo I Go, I think he can track this horse, St. Joe Viper, and maybe he's going to chase him down at the end.
Biff is the Arundel horse for Oscar Gonzalez, the number 2, who you have third, I have second. Arundel's got some great names. And did you have Back to the Future down in Venezuela growing up with the kid? Great movie, right?
Yes, of course.
So you got Hill Valley, McFly, and Biff out of the same dam, and obviously all of them in homage to the great original Back to the Future, and Biff will likely improve today. And if I'm not mistaken, Oscar Gonzalez, he's from Venezuela too,
yes,
right?
He's from Venezuela, yes.
Good trainer also.
Yes, especially with horses in long distances, he was very good.
Yeah, no, and Marcos Meneses, who's riding well quietly, got to be confident and feeling good. Marcos will have the call on the 2 Biff in race number 2. As Alfredo and I and all of you take a little time out, we'll be back, a little trip around the country with the Stronach 5 and a whole lot more.
The best chance for success begins with a solid foundation. At Hardacre Farm, early personal one-on-one care starts the journey to becoming a champion. Bred to leading stallions, our mares represent the highest standards. Hardacre Farm's signature in the breeding industry. Based in Ocala, Florida, breeder and owner Amy Tarrant has inspired excellence throughout her entire career. In your quest for success, start with Hardacre Farm, breeding the champions of tomorrow.
Whether you're at home or at the track, have a stake in the race when you bet with ExpressBet. Sign up for an ExpressBet online betting account and receive up to a $500 sign-up bonus.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this live opening Friday edition of Gulfstream Park West today. My man Alfredo Alfonso and Jason Blewett, of course, joining all of you for act number 2. And we will, as promised, take a little bi-coastal trip around the United States. Good-looking Stronach 5 sequence, Alfredo, that begins the first of 3, in fact, up at Laurel Park in race number 7. Let's also include Santa Anita Park. They've got a pretty nice turf race in the sequence.
Yes, and we have also one race at Gulfstream Park West. That is the race that I picked my single. Let's see if I'm lucky or not.
Yeah, I'm wondering now. You got me interested in Alfredo in your ticket, of course. Get out of there, fly. Anyway, you got the number 9 in that second leg, the only race in the mix from Gulfstream Park West. You like Leo Aspera in the first with Yeye, who's now 9-5. You also like the 9 Fine Spirit.
Yeah, this Fine Spirit, he ran very well in his last race despite the weather conditions, and I think today his day to to break his maiden.
Did he not like the rain last time out?
I think so. And his trainer talked to me and he explained me that the horse need more distance. He is not getting that distance today, but I think the field is weaker.
Now, you've got 3 to start at Laurel Park and basically 3 in every other leg for an $81 play. Again, a 12% takeout, a $1 minimum. My ticket a little cheaper, and although I have a single, it's in a different race on a different coast, mind you, out at Santa Anita Park. And the favorite out there, that is a GQ Cover Girl, looks pretty tough, I thought. Give her form for trainer Doug O'Neill, and I'm going to take her as she's a tick above even money on the morning line, a $54 play. But I am happy to see, Alfredo, I do have your number 9, Fine Spirit, in that second leg up at GPW, or here at GPW, 1-9-10 for me in leg B of the Stronach 5. Rainbow 6, meanwhile, about $12,000. A little over that in the kitty as we set sail with that 20-cent wager and a $32.40 play for me on this opening Friday, day number 3, a sequence that, much like your early pick 5, I am all in. We're all in, I should say, with the number 1 Captain Ron, who was really good last time out. I'm thinking he wires the field again, my friend, and is very tough to beat at a short price.
Oh, maybe if he's winning, we are hitting both. The
That's
early and the rainbow.
Yeah, that's the plan, my friend. I mean, fingers crossed. That is definitely the plan, and maybe the late pick 5, because don't forget, with an 8-race card, our late pick 5 starts with the 4th race. But Captain Ron, the anchor, I am 3 deep to start things out, every bit of the 2, 7, and 9. Now, we had a couple of scratches in this opening leg of the Rainbow 6. We're down to a field of 7, and these are Florida-bred 2-year-old filly, $50,000 maiden claimers. It's a race really dominated by first-time starters, and looking around, Alfredo, you've got 3 first-time starters by Kozan in the mix.
Yes, it's a very difficult race to handicap.
Yep.
I had the number 5 has my first pick, but it's a scratch.
Me too.
And she was a son of big drama, so I was expecting her, to take the lead from the beginning. Now I have Ruthila, the number 4, a Kozan daughter. Kozan is producing very well, good runners here in Florida, and she worked particularly well for Fulton in 48. I expect a good start, and Paco taking the lead from the beginning. Yeah,
Paco on this horse, no doubt, first time out for trainer Rob Falcone Jr. She originally was purchased as a yearling for just $5,000 and was later sold at OBS June. So a number of months later, for 5 times that, sold for $25,000. Now she's one of 3 Kozan first-time starting fillies in the mix. I see your first-time starters all the way, because you have the 2R Fantasy now in second after the scratch of David's firster, Royal Wood Queenie, who's a mouthful, but our Fantasy seems to be working well, and with that pedigree, sold for a lot, mucho dinero on that pedigree.
Yes, it's very expensive. Catherine O'Connell is a specialist in the first starters, 18 winning percentage, and Luca Panisha board. I think she's a good bet too.
The 9 Chit Chat Girl, after scratches, may or may not, depending upon what they do with the firsters and how they bet them. I could see this horse actually, this filly by Chitu, actually being favored. She got bet first out for Juan Arriagada, and although she was an okay third, didn't run great, didn't run terrible, I noted that the top 2 speeds just ran 1-2 around the dirt at Gulfstream. The winner wired the field, paid 48-1 odds, and this filly was the only horse in the race that gained any ground whatsoever. And I like the job trainer Juan Arriagada does, another good trainer here at GPW.
And also her pedigree is very good. Chitu was a fast horse, and and her grandfather Henny Hughes also.
Yep. You remember who trained Chitu?
Bob Buffer, right?
Yep. Remember who trained for extra credit? Henny Hughes.
I don't remember.
Kieran.
Oh.
Good horse, though, right?
Yes.
Very good horse. Yes, no doubt. A granddaughter of the very speedy Henny Hughes in the third is Chit Chat Girl. Late pick 5 begins. Without further ado, we've got Alfredo's ticket. Let's hope we don't cost everybody a few $100 today between the Stronachs, the Rainbow 6s, and our 2 GPW pick 5s, the early and late. You didn't single Captain Ron this go-round. You're too deep to start in his race. Obviously, you use Captain Ron, and you're really putting all your eggs in one basket, as we say here, with Fine Spirit. You like her a lot in the last.
Yes, and I'm taking the opportunity using Fine Spirit here as a single to add Can't Take It With You to join Captain Ron in race 4. Anyway, I'm rooting for Captain Ron. I will say Ronnie, Jason.
Yes, Captain Ronnie. I wish Captain Jason, my friend. Anyway, Captain Ron is coming in out of that big win last time out. We've kind of mentioned it here and there a couple of different times on the show so far, and you can see for yourself how impressive this son of Speightstown was in his last start about a month ago on the 7th day of September. I had liked him in this race, and he's on the lead now, and at this point, even watching the race live, it was really a matter of, well, how much is he going to win by? I thought he might get a good pace to set off of in track, and Jairo Rendon rode a completely different race. I was pretty pleased to see. And given the fact that this horse buried a good field for the 2 lifetime tag, man, I look around, Alfredo, maybe the 4 Shazam tries to run with this horse early, but I think we got the speed of the speed. And would you agree, maybe the most talented horse in today's 4th race?
Yes, I think so. He's a son of Speightstown, a Breeders' Cup winner, so he's pure speed. He only needs a good jump at the beginning from the signpost, and he's going to maybe wire to wire this field.
Best closer in the race, the 2, can't take it with you?
I like him a lot because in the last race he has some trouble, and I think he's going to be a danger in the final stretch in the case that Captain Ron didn't run well.
Okay, that's the 4th start of the early bird opening Friday late pick 5. Let's move on to race number 5. This is my favorite race on the card. I mean, I tend to like these 2-year-old maiden special weights for a myriad of reasons, and although we lost the two-tone feeling, and this is more or less a compact field of 8, maybe not so compact with 8 on the dirt. We'll go that 2-turn mile over a main track that's been, again, very kind to inside speed. But there's 3 major players in this race who all look a little bit different on paper between the 1 Fort McHenry, the number 3 Gemmo, and the 8 Dream Doro. We'll talk about all 3, but let's begin with Gemmo, who's coming out of a very game 3rd place finish. Not badly beaten. This horse really hung in tooth and nail until deep stretch back on August 10th. I gave him extra points for this race. I don't think he's coming out of the best last out field in terms of quality. I think that's a distinction for me anyway. That belongs to the 8 Dream Doro as he exits the Poe race, which was a very strong field. But I love how Gemmo hung on so gamely, considering he was the inside speed, hounded every step of the way, and he was going 7 furlongs off a 2-month layoff in just his 2nd start. For me, 7 furlongs is the toughest, most demanding distance to win at on the dirt, and this horse did not want to back down at all. Very good effort we just looked at.
Yeah, he showed speed, and also he kept on during all the final stretch. If he repeats this race here, and with the advantage for the speed horses in the last days, he's going to be 1-2 in this race, for sure.
Yep, with your top pick, you would imagine. I mean, we might get a situation into that first turn where it's Jeffrey Sanchez on Gemmo and Edgar Zayas on Fort McHenry, both, I mean, running and gunning and trying to hold their position or get over to the rail, assuming speed's good today. And Edgar, needless to say, is riding for trainer Todd Pletcher on the younger brother to California Chrome, who didn't run all that great first time out at Saratoga, but you like him here.
Yes, but as the Americans say, the money is running, and this horse almost 1.1 million, almost not $1.5 million, and I think by his pedigree, he's going to run very well in this distance, maybe better than in the speed race that he tried in the first time, and maybe the inside post, as you said, if he has a good jump at the beginning and he turn first in the first turn and go to the back stretch in the lead, maybe he can win the race.
Now, Dream Doro is trying a mile as well. He's the number 8, and he's run fine, obviously. He's run really well in his 3 starts to date, and I like that Poe race that he's coming out of. That is just a very good field that he caught back on August 31st.
Yes, because Poe won that race, and Whiskers Dream, after that race, won also. I have some doubts about the distance because Dream Doro was fading at the end, but has a good chance. But he needs to be close to the lead at the beginning.
And I'd imagine stretching out, Rios will have him up close. I mean, you might get, again, a 3-horse type team into that first turn or midway around that first turn between Fort McHenry, Gemmo, and Dream Doro. Good field there on the main track in race number 5. We can move on to the 6th. This will go as our featured 6th race on this opening Friday, day 3 of the fall meet here at Gulfstream Park West, and a solid cast of horses and a field, Alfredo, that I almost broke down into 3 separate tiers. I think the most talented horse in the race, or certainly the most accomplished to this point, might just be Catharsis, who's probably going to be favored. Then you've got the troubled trip of Nike Can. You've also got the best speed in Fallen Leaf. Let's dive into Nike Can first. And in talking about potentially wanting to back the most interesting, toughest last out trip, well, this filly by Cantharos had very, very little go her way last time out on September 15th. She's the number 2. She didn't have a great post, and at this point, she's already a little behind the 8 ball, but she's inside, which is a good thing, obviously, sprinting on the turf. Things as they enter the far turn, though, that 4-horse will come over slightly on her, and there's just no room, and she had to check and steady and lost a ton of ground in the blink of an eye. To her credit, she was able to re-rally, and she did so in hand. Miguel Vasquez, who fits her like a glove, didn't ask her all that much for run, and she was able to get herself up in the race. She couldn't get outside fully in the clear here because the 5 Speed Star kind of beat her to that spot. This was a very good race, though, out of Nike Can, who, again, Alfredo, as we just looked, had to make a couple of different moves last time out.
Yes, and she will have today Fallen Leaf leading the race from the beginning, establishing this fast pace that you used to do. So she's going to close strongly in this race in Nike Can. That is my first choice. But I will wish you luck with this one because she has a lot of speed for Catharsis. Maybe she can rank behind the Fallen Leaf, and I think she's going to pass first, maybe.
Get first run on Fallen Leaf.
First run.
And which is what happened last time out. Here's the race. We can take a look at what Alfredo's alluding to back on July 13th. You had Fallen Leaf out there in the black and white of Averill doing her thing. She is a rocket ship. It's amazing how, just like clockwork, how fast she is. But Catharsis, who has been a very good speed horse throughout her career, to her credit, didn't make the lead, wasn't able to outrun Fallen Leaf, but still kicked on very gamely down inside in what turned out to be a great race.
Yes, and she's a daughter of Cantharos. So Aubrey Marash is doing very well in turf sprint, 17 winning percentage. So I think Catharsis is going to be in the sector.
Yes, no, I mean, she's a major threat for the exact, and she's been laid up since that dead heat victory with another Averill horse in Our Happy Ending. That race some 83 days ago. Major player who's a deserving favorite. So again, fastest horse early, Fallen Leaf. The trouble trip last time out. My top pick, Nike Can, and maybe just simply the class, if you will, going in is the number 5, Catharsis. But a nice 3-horse matchup there on the turf in race number 6. 7th race is our finale today on the main track. Our last dirt race will go at 7 furlongs, a $10,000 3-and-up claimer. And one of the traits, Alfredo, that jumped off the page at me and that I like about this race is it really is a field, and a field of 6, in fact, dominated by recent pickups and acquisitions. I mean, you've got Particularity second off the claim, Il Ferone off a trainer change, Doc Kane off a claim for Safi, One Fine Ride off the claim for Angel Quiros, and our top pick, the 5, who's a tough warrior in Starship Apollo, who's second off the claim today for Emmy Gaffney. We both like this horse.
And he's 347 at Gulfstream Park West. He's very dominant in this distance, so I think he's going to be a tough rival this afternoon with Jairo Rendon aboard. And he's used to train by different trainers, and he always responds.
Yeah, no, he runs well for everybody, and since I moved down here about 2.5 years ago, he might be number 1 as far as a horse. I'm talking an individual horse who's been claimed the most times. I mean, he's moved around from one barn to another, and he runs, as Alfredo was saying, he runs well for just about everybody. And how key is the distance for him today? Because for me anyway, Alfredo, 5 furlongs, not his game, and that's what he had to do last time out.
Yes, and he has 5 victories in this distance, so he's going to track the leaders very close, and he's going to finish strong. So this horse is very difficult to beat this afternoon. Maybe the number 3, Big Boy Bruno with Paco, he's going to track also the speed, and he finished second behind Starship Apollo in Starship's last victory.
And he likes it here at GPW. He likes 7/8 and should be an off-the-pace threat, assuming, of course, the track is a little more even than it's been the last couple of days. If it's an inside speed type tilted racetrack, he's going to have a tough time, but we'll see. Peter Walder's done a nice job campaigning the old class horse in Big Boy Bruno. Particularity ran well, really ran well with the big figure 2 back, and was a little, I think, out of sorts in his first start off the claim for Bob DeBona. That was a good field of Florida breds. He's down in class, and he might be, Alfredo, we've got the same ice cold super, 5-3-4-1. Particularity, though, might be the one they've got to catch in this race, don't you think?
Maybe Dot Kane, the Into Mischief son,
Yeah.
is going to jump with him. So maybe we are expecting a duel at the beginning of the race. Better for Starship Apollo.
Yeah, if they hook up for sure, Starship Apollo and even Big Boy Bruno may get a little lucky, a little bit of a perfect storm. And speaking of Doc Kane and Safi off the claim, want to wish him the best of luck. Safi starting his first horse ever a bit later today. It is opening day at Keeneland Racecourse, and he's got Sound Machine running midway through their card. I think she's pretty good, Sound Machine. I really do.
Yes, we wish him the best, and Sound Machine wins impressively. The last time here at Gulfstream, maybe she's going to win again at Keeneland.
Yeah, no, I know Safi's very confident in her. I think she's got quite a bit of class and ability, and no doubt we'll be tuning in. And if you're joining us over at Gulfstream Park, obviously you can watch and wager on the opening day festivities at Keeneland Racecourse. Here's the 8th race on the program. Obviously, Alfredo likes the 9-5 Spirit, or Fine Spirit rather, and we'll cap the card with the $20,000 to $16,000 maiden claimer, going a 2-turn turf mile. And why don't we dive right into the replay from a very rainy start here. 3 fillies are coming out of this race we're about to show you on September 12th. And Alfredo, I'll turn it over to you with Fine Spirit, who at this point she was never able to get herself in a bueno good type spot. It looked like she was just wide the whole race essentially.
Yes, and the splits were very fast that day because of the rain. The turf was very compacted, and he tried to close what was impossible to him at the end. You can see him getting close to the winners, and he was edging in every step, but he was not able to reach the leader at that point. Today, I think, will be different. Now Christian Torres know him, and that will be a tough difference today.
And Macho Mania, the one, gelding by Mucho Macho Man, is coming out of that same race. And he probably, of the two, neither horse ran fantastically well, but I thought he had the better luck, the better trip, and he might be set to improve. He's second start back off a layoff. He ran fine last time. I'm going to argue he may have needed that race from the rail.
He is going to be ridden by Jairo Rendon, so I expecting him to be at the lead very soon at in this race. Well, if Fine Spirit didn't reach in the final stretch, maybe you're right.
Well, I'm hoping both horses, and I think they'll both run well, Fine Spirit and Macho Mania, out of a very overcast and almost deluge type first race at Gulfstream on September 12th. But I'm hoping this race will be won by Paco Lopez and David Fox with a bit of a first-time turfing new face. And here's a little bit of the backstory with the old Bluets Bullets on the number 10, Over the Channel, who when I was looking at this gelding, I like that he's by Overanalyze, but I especially like that he's out of a dam, who's by English Channel. She herself was a minor winner on the turf, which is great. And only the second foal in the family is the number 10, Over the Channel. Half brother is 1 for 4 on turf, a minor winner on grass, which I like. And I don't know, Alfredo, if there was a barn going back to last week over at Gulfstream Park that was more in the zone than David Fox. I mean, he picked up 5 wins in the matter of only 5 racing cards. He was on fire.
Yes, he's winning frequently, and English Channel is a good producer of turfers, and I think that maybe the distance is kind of short for Over the Channel, like for Fine Spirit, but the field is very weak. I think they are closing strong in this race.
All right, sounds good, my friend. Well, that'll do it for myself and Alfredo. Great job today, and best of luck, my friend.
Thank you, and same for you.
All right. Let's get lucky, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and supporting us here at Gulfstream Park West. We'll take a little breather and turn it on over to the man upstairs, the one and only track announcer, Pete Aiello.